Hello and welcome to the intro episode for my Shell by Example series. So in this series, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to use the shell effectively so that you can do everything you need to do in it as a developer, and even maybe do some things that you're not even able to do with graphical user interfaces. So if you want to keep up with this series, be sure to subscribe to me. Check out this playlist right here, which will have every episode in it as they come out. And let's go ahead and hop right in. So just as a quick intro, we're currently in the era of graphical user interfaces and desktop environments. So because of that, shell fluency rates have plummeted. Since people don't need to use the shell, they just don't know how. It's also just much easier to interact with visual elements rather than having to memorize a bunch of commands and react to the very minimal feedback that many shell programs give you. So while that's fine for most people, the shell is still a crucial tool for developers, power users, and pretty much anyone in technology. So in this series, we're going to work through the basics of how to use the shell by interacting with it. So when I talk about the shell here, I'm referring to Unix shells as opposed to others like Windows PowerShell. Unix shells are important because they show up everywhere, from PCs running Linux or macOS to Android phones to Linux-based servers. There are also a bunch of different flavors of Unix shell, including Bash, ZSH, and many more. So for most basic applications, these shells are essentially interchangeable, but they may have different syntax or work differently for some things. So in this series, I'm going to be using ZSH on an M1 MacBook Pro. If you want to see my exact setup for my shell, check out this video about my development environment, where you can also grab my .dot files if you want to copy my setup. So if you're on Mac or Linux, you should be able to follow along easily with whatever shell you already have if you don't want a copy of mine. But if you're on Windows, you will have to install a Linux environment. The easiest way to do this is by installing Windows Subsystem for Linux, which I've linked a tutorial to in the description. So now that we're all set up, we're ready to jump right in. So to end off this video, before we get into the actual series, let's get our shell journey started at least a little bit by doing the classic hello world example. So to get our shell to repeat a string, we use the echo command. So if we go ahead right up here, we can just type in echo hello world. And there we go. We get hello world parroted right back to us. So you may realize that this hello world probably looks pretty different from any other hello world you've done if you've been doing things in programming languages. And that's because instead of using functions or anything like that, shells treat everything passed to them as tokens. So a token is essentially just a piece of text separated by some sort of delimiter. So here our tokens are echo, hello, and world. Specifically including these things in each of those tokens. So our first token is echo. You can see our second one is hello, comma, and our third is world, exclamation point. So a token is a piece of text, and the echo command works by taking all of the other tokens, other than itself, obviously, and parroting them back to you. So that means you don't need to pass it input as a string or anything like that. It can take any sort of text, and it will just parrot it right back. So that is going to be all for today. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed this video and if you're excited for this Shell by Example series, and get subscribed so you don't miss any future episodes. Share this video with any of your friends who you think should learn how to use a shell, and I'll be sure to see you back next time. Thank you.